Sometimes we go through seasons when, at some point in the day, the emptiness seems to speak louder. As the hours pass and tomorrow draws near, the mind fills with questions. What if nothing changes? What if what worries me now only gets worse? Maybe you know this feeling well. The weight of uncertainty that invades the heart and brings a discomfort that's hard to ignore. What comes next? What will the day that's about to begin be like? Will the same struggles still be there, waiting for you? Tomorrow is uncharted territory, and that can be frightening. The mind keeps reaching for answers that are beyond our grasp, and more often than not, the scenarios it builds are full of fear and worry. But does this anxiety actually change anything? Can fear alter what's to come? Jesus was very clear when he said, "Which of you by being anxious can add a single cubit to his height?" Matthew 6:27. In other words, he teaches us that worry changes nothing. No amount of anxiety adds a second to your day. No fear transforms the future. Anxiety only robs you of today's peace. It has no power to shape what's ahead. Even knowing this, we still try to predict what's out of our control. We try to prepare for the worst, as if that would give us some kind of control over the outcome. But in the end, the answers remain out of reach. The mind gets confused, and the heart grows restless. Maybe today, you're carrying unanswered questions. Maybe your soul is tired and searching for rest. If that's the case, stop for a moment and take a deep breath. Isn't God already taking care of everything? Isn't that tomorrow, which feels so uncertain to you, already fully in His hands? While you worry, God has already prepared every detail. While your mind is racing, He has already written the next chapter of your story. Before you even open your eyes to face the new day, God has already been there. That means you can rest, not because all the answers will come right now, but because you no longer have to carry everything alone. Your future is not loose, left to chance. It is held by the one who never fails. So how do we deal with uncertainty? How do we face what hasn't happened yet without being consumed by anxiety? The answer is not in trying to predict the future, but in trusting the one who is already there. If God has brought you this far, won't He continue to guide you? Take another deep breath and ask yourself, what if God has already taken care of it all? What if what worries you right now is already under His control? If that's true, and it is, what reason do you have to fear? Your life is not a boat adrift. God is at the helm. Tomorrow may be unknown to you, but it's no mystery to Him. That's why you can rest. The fear of the future doesn't come from nowhere. It grows within us, fueled by a deep desire for control. We want to ensure everything turns out right. We want to avoid pain before it even happens. But the more we try to foresee things, the more anxious we become. The mind won't stop, imagining situations that might never happen. And even without knowing what lies ahead, we catch ourselves building defenses against the unknown. But what does that actually bring us? A weary heart, a restless soul, and a worry that changes nothing. Jesus already knew this would be one of our greatest battles. That's why He said, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." Matthew 6:34. He didn't deny that challenges exist, but He reminded us that anxiety changes nothing. So ask yourself, what has fear taken from you? And what could trusting in God give back? How many times have you missed the present moment because your mind was trapped in problems that hadn't even happened yet? And how many sleepless nights have been spent imagining scenarios that never came true? Tomorrow is not a problem to be solved before it arrives. It belongs to God. The illusion of control deceives us, making us think that if we just think hard enough, worry enough, we'll avoid pain. But the truth is, life was never about having everything under control. No strategy can prevent trials, and no prediction guarantees that everything will go as planned. But does this lack of control, mean we're lost? Does uncertainty mean abandonment? Not at all. One of the most freeing truths we can understand is this: God never asked us to know what comes next. He doesn't require us to have all the answers. He only asks us to trust. While the heart is troubled by what hasn't happened yet, God has already prepared every detail. Tomorrow doesn't have to feel like a burden when we know who is leading the way. So, what do we do in the face of consuming fear and suffocating anxiety? The answer isn't to try and control things even more. It's to let go of control. It's when we stop trying to solve everything on our own that we find rest. It's when we surrender our uncertainties to God that peace begins to dwell within us. If God is already in tomorrow, why be afraid? If He takes care of every detail, why carry a burden that was never ours to bear? What is uncertain to us is already resolved in His hands. And in the end, that has always been the only certainty that truly matters. Time limits us. We see life linearly, one day after another, unable to look beyond the now. Tomorrow is a blank page, a territory that only unfolds as the clock ticks forward. But God is not confined by time. He is already there. He sees the past, the present, and the future as one. Nothing surprises Him. What causes us distress has already been seen, cared for, and resolved by His hands, even before it became a concern for us. As it says in Isaiah 46:9-10, I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times, things not yet done. If He knows the end from the beginning, then nothing is out of His control. What seems uncertain today has already been carefully planned by Him. And how many times, when we look back, do we realize that what once kept us up at night was resolved in unimaginable ways? Situations that once seemed impossible aligned at just the right time. In that moment, the fear was heavy, the uncertainty overwhelming. But God had already written every answer before you were even aware of the problem. And the same is true of the future. What unsettles you today will become tomorrow's testimony. What now seems unclear will be remembered as living proof of God's care. He doesn't just see what is coming. He has already prepared everything for His will to be fulfilled. That doesn't mean the days will be easy, but it does mean you will never walk through them alone. The future is not an abyss for those who walk guided by God. Even without seeing, you can walk with confidence, because He is already there. If tomorrow still scares you, pause for a moment and reflect. God already knows it fully. Every detail, every challenge, every answer you still seek, it's all already in His hands. You may not know what's coming, but He does. You may not see the solution, but He has already prepared it. The future doesn't have to be a burden when you understand that you're being led by the One who has already written your story. Things won't always go as planned. Sometimes we try, we dream, we make plans, and suddenly doors close and paths vanish before our eyes. In those moments, the heart fills with questions. Where did I go wrong? Has God abandoned me? Frustration takes over. The mind searches for explanations and often finds none. But what seems like an obstacle may actually be a redirection. When God prevents something from happening, it's not neglect, it's care. Not everything we desire aligns with what's best for us. There are paths that seem safe, but would lead us to places we were never meant to be. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way to death. Proverbs 14:12. We don't always recognize the hidden risks behind our choices. Sometimes, what appears to be the best path can lead us away from God's plan. But He sees beyond what we can. A closed door may seem like a setback, but often it's protection. Over time, we come to understand that what once frustrated us was actually deliverance. That job that didn't work out, the relationship that ended, the plan that was interrupted, all of it may have been a necessary detour to avoid deeper pain. If everything happened exactly the way we wanted, would we be prepared to handle the consequences? We don't always have the maturity to see that many unanswered prayers were, in fact, hidden blessings. What we ask for is not always what we need. What we desire is not always what's good for us. When a door closes, our first instinct is to insist. We knock harder, try to force it open. But is that effort worth it? Is trying to reopen what God has closed not a waste of energy? Sometimes our stubbornness blinds us to the fact that God has already prepared something far greater elsewhere. Trusting God means accepting that not everything has to make sense right now. It means believing that even without understanding, He knows exactly what He's doing. When God closes a door, it's not to hurt us. It's to protect us and lead us to the right place. He does not deny us blessings. He directs us. So if something you deeply wanted didn't happen, take a deep breath. That's not a sign of stagnation. It may just be a necessary detour towards something greater. What feels like loss today will be seen as deliverance tomorrow. God doesn't close doors to limit you. He closes them to lead you into the right purpose. If He stopped it, trust. If He closed it, wait. What He has for you is always greater than what was left behind. When the day comes to an end, the mind fills with worries and the heart stirs with uncertainties about what lies ahead. Anxiety takes the place of peace, and thoughts race in every direction, building scenarios that may never come true. Trusting God should be simple, but it's not always easy. Faith invites us to let go of control, but our human nature wants to keep hold of the reins. We want guarantees before we take a step. We want certainty about what's to come. But that's not how faith works. Trust is walking even when you can't see the whole path. Anxiety tries to convince us that if we think enough, we'll be able to control tomorrow. But true rest doesn't come from understanding everything. It comes from accepting that God already does. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37:5. This doesn't mean that everything will be perfect or that we won't face difficulties, but it does mean that He is in control and that nothing happens outside of His purpose. Resting in God doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities or pretending problems don't exist. It means recognizing that there's a limit to what we can do, and that worry solves nothing. How many times has anxiety fixed a problem? How many sleepless nights changed a situation? None. Fear of tomorrow doesn't alter the future. It only steals the peace of the present. True rest comes when we understand that we are not alone. God not only knows the future, He walks with us even in the present. He's not distant, watching from afar. He acts, sustains, guides, and cares. To experience this peace, we must let go of burdens that were never ours to carry. Letting go of control may be hard, but it is deeply liberating. When we accept that God knows what is best, our shoulders lighten and our soul finds rest. Uncertainty is no longer a threat. It becomes the space where God works in unexpected ways. If your heart is restless, breathe. No fear can change the future, but trust in God changes how we face what's to come. Tomorrow may be a mystery to you, but it is never a mystery to Him. What seems uncertain today is already resolved in His hands. Faith doesn't require you to have all the answers, only that you trust the one who already does. You can rest because God is in control. What worries you today is already under His care, and that's all you need to know. God never promised we would see the future clearly, but He did promise to be present in every step. Tomorrow may seem uncertain, but it's never uncertain to Him. What is a challenge today will become a testimony of God's care over your life. Maybe your heart still carries doubts. Maybe your thoughts keep questioning what's to come. But before moving forward, breathe and surrender everything to God. He's already there, taking care of what you haven't even seen yet. Now, take a pause. Let the peace of God surround your heart. This is the moment to release what is beyond your control. Where there is fear, let trust enter. Where there is unrest, may the peace of the Lord fill everything. Pray with me. Beloved Father, I come before you in this moment, recognizing that my life is in your hands. You know every thought before I can even express it. You know the worries I carry, the fears that hold me back, and the uncertainties that weigh on me. I try to plan, predict, control, but I know only you have power over tomorrow. Today, I surrender everything to you. Take care of my heart, my mind, and my steps. Teach me to trust, even when I don't understand. May your peace wrap around me, and your will be fulfilled in my life. That's why, Lord, I place before you all that I carry in my heart. The unanswered questions, the fears that make me hesitate, and the silent battles that no one sees. I know you don't just hear my words, but search my soul and understand even what I can't express. I trust that no detail escapes your eyes. Nothing goes unnoticed by you. So, if there's anything I'm still holding on to, help me to let go. If I'm still carrying fears, teach me to trust. Life brings situations I don't understand, doors that close, and paths that become unclear, and my mind tries to find explanations. But the truth is that I don't need to understand everything to trust. I don't need to have all the answers to rest in your love. Your word reminds me, commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37 verse 5. This promise is enough. Knowing that tomorrow is already under your control brings me peace. Knowing that each of my days is written by your hands gives me security. Even in difficulties, even in deserts, I know you will never abandon me. I may not know what lies ahead, but I know who takes care of me. And that's all that matters. If there's any resistance in my heart to fully trust in you, reveal it to me, Lord. If at any point I believed I could handle it all alone, teach me to depend more on you. I want to rest in your faithfulness, knowing that every detail of my life is held in your care. Father, renew my strength. Sometimes emotional weariness tries to bring me down, and worries consume my peace, but I know you are my inexhaustible source of strength. Let nothing cause me to doubt your love. Let nothing separate me from the certainty that you are with me. In every step, every decision, every new day, now before you, I give everything I am, so my plans, my dreams, my uncertainties, I throw myself completely into your arms because I know you care for me better than I ever could. I don't need to carry burdens that aren't mine, nor be distressed about what's beyond my control. You are ahead of me, and that gives me rest. Calm my soul, Lord. Teach me to live one day at a time, without anticipating pains that may never come. Help me to see your signs, to understand your purposes, and to trust in your timing. May I not act hastily. May I not despair, but may I know how to wait. with a peaceful heart, knowing your plan is always the best for me. Now, I rest. Not because everything is resolved in my eyes, but because everything is already resolved in you. I choose to trust. I choose to surrender. I choose to rest in your arms, certain that nothing can separate me from your love. In Jesus' name, amen. Prayer doesn't just change circumstances, it transforms the heart of the one who trusts. What was once worry is now surrender. What was fear is now faith. God is already taking care of everything, and it's this certainty that allows us to move forward in peace. If this message and prayer spoke to you, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. That way, you help us reach more people who also need this message of hope. In the comments, write with faith, "My tomorrow is in God's hands." Declare this and strengthen your trust in His care. And if you desire to live a year with more purpose and intimacy with God, we've left a special gift in the first pinned comment, a resource that can transform your prayer routine and bring direction to your spiritual life. Take a look. It may be exactly what you need right now. May God bless your life and your tomorrow. Stay in peace.